A lot of staff that come into this lab. And even in that lab down there was maybe what, 6, 7 people that run that whole thing for the county. That's pretty amazing. So, any questions? You guys in the back. All right, we're kind of going in a little bit of reverse order here, but what we've got in this center, if you can all hear me, I'm sorry, I've got a cold, but I'm going to try and talk through this. This is where we actually clean the oxygen. Now, if we didn't do that, what's coming off of all of our wastewater? Pretty strong gases, right? Pretty strong odors. If we didn't do that, all the folks that live in, say, a 15-mile radius from here would not be happy. Nobody would like the real estate that they own. What we have here in these 4 large white containment units is something that actually cleans the oxygen. You're going to see some plastic balls in there, very uniquely shaped. I think they were designed by a company called GE. What it does is it actually goes through a byproducts that comes off of it. Okay. That goes through multi-layers, and as we walk by them, you'll see it. And then through this master output tower is what is being clean air. Okay, so everybody smelling it? You don't smell anything right now, do you? It's just loud, right? The next room we go to, it would be about 10 times worse if you'd be breathing that, and that would actually be a pollutant. You wouldn't want that, okay? Because additional pathogens in your aerobic breathing. So this cost about $13 million just for these 4 tubes, these 4 containment systems. What else? Let's move on to the gritty stuff. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Influence coming in, right? All the raw wastewater comes in through these massive pipes, and we're going to see that at the far end of the plant. This is kind of like the spot that, the oxygen always obviously gets cleaned at this point. It's almost the last point in the process. But the effluent, or the water that's discharged from this plant, is not drinkable. You probably could drink it, but I wouldn't suggest it. Again, fecal coliforms. I don't know if your lab tour guide talked about that. They probably wouldn't want to drink this, but it goes back into the Chattahoochee River, down at Peachtree Corners. Goes through a 26-mile pipeline all the way up to Lake Lanier. It goes right into that water system so that plants and animals are not even affected by it. They wouldn't know the difference. They want to have it so balanced, so perfect, that it doesn't affect any ecosystem. Okay?
And then does drinking water come from Lake Lanier eventually?
That would go through a different
But it goes through a different
facility.
process.
Yes.
Okay.
So on the far side, when we get down on Chemical Row, you'll see multiple pipes. Like I said, those go to Chattahoochee, Lake Lanier, and then there's some that goes to an actual drinking facility. I think that's on Shoal Road.
Okay.
Okay. Questions? Part of the cleaning process for the bleaching. One more thing I want to mention about this. Somebody asked me earlier, has there ever been any accidents here? I don't know, but we'll talk about it. What you will see here is there's this big step down. It's like a containment system, okay? Metals, steel, alloys, they will rust, they're corrosive. These beams are made out of fiberglass. So if there was any kind of leakage in any of these tanks through this chemical process, this is pretty caustic chemicals, they could contain it in this area. I can find out for you though.
What's that switch in?
I don't know, but it's connected to the connect. Primary clarification process. We want to remove all the solids first, right? It's one of the first steps. I don't know if you saw it, but when you walked up those little stairs, there's this big band screen cleaners. They are like big thick screens. And they're knocking that stuff out. They have to be cleaned constantly. So the next time you take a shower or you're throwing stuff down the toilet, you think maybe it's questionable, or you're putting stuff in the dishwasher, you shouldn't go in there. You can always remember this. All right? Nasty stuff. We're gonna get rid of that. Okay? That byproduct gets trucked away. It's taken to a landfill up in Buford. predominantly nutrients. There is some waste in there, but again, most of it at some point in time will biosolve. And 30 million gallons a day get treated here. 30 million gallons, that's hard to fathom. So if you can imagine, all the houses in Gwinnett County, all in your little block, are coming here. That's something else. So let's go on to the next spot. Okay, so you guys can hear that noise from the highway. Thank goodness, you know, they bought this property. What we're seeing here, and I talked about, we were kind of doing it in reverse. These are the huge influent pipes. These are coming from different parts of Gwinnett County. All these pipes, everything, all the walk-throughs, everything is coming through here. Now, if you look down here, this one's not done yet, correct? That is for growth, future growth. I was talking to one of the guys in the lab the other day, and we're going to be like 1,000 people away from opening this one up. Okay, and then another one will be built. And all the construction that you see behind us and all over this particular parcel of land is designed so that we can continue to grow, all right, so that they can do that. Now, the building behind you is an accessory fuel building. Everything that they have here that cleans the water, there's a secondary backup system. Meaning, I don't know all the ins and outs. We lost electricity. You can't have that water stop being cleaned, right? It has to get backed up. So water has to keep going. We got to keep that clean. So if we had an ice storm and they lost power here for a few days, that accessory fuel building would kick it in. Okay, I'm not sure the actual fuel that they use. I know there's different gases like methane and such that generate the plant, that provide energy to the plant, but you know, I got some unusual questions from another high school that came through, I think in Centennial down in Roswell. If our electric gets knocked out and our water gets knocked out by terrorists, right, that would allow us to keep functioning and get it up and moving again. So the interesting point about it was that they have a secondary system that I don't even know where it is, but it's below the earth that would help us continue our lifestyle. Does that all make sense? I'm trying to say that as politically and tactfully as possible. All right? These are the big influent tubes. This is where it all starts. We're going to go up on them there. You get cholera, typhus, there's all sorts of things. You'd be in the hospital for a long time. It would be dreadful. But I'm glad that they do have that, and I'm glad you saw that because I've never noticed that before. Follow me. Water, it's getting to a point where life can sustain itself again. You may see some down in there.
The water starts to turn green here and the algae begins to grow again. You can see algae all on that edge there. Which indicates that it's healthy enough for it to grow again. Yeah.
Some scum and some sludge in a non-active. They've obviously stopped this one, but you'll see that algae growing. All right. Okay. Follow me. Anybody have any questions about this? It's been 20 years.
After a long journey.
Was it really?
You guys form up that half circle for me.
Okay,
if you
half
don't mind.
circle,
Real
up
quick.
close, let's go.
All right, so let's just recap real quick. Influent comes in, right, from your homes. Actually comes out of the Lake Lanier, right? Comes into your homes, gets sucked into your homes, into your toilets, into your showers and dishwashers. It's pulled here. All the solids get taken out in that grip room, correct? Then you go into the bioreactors. Bioreactors get new bacteria that gets introduced or infused into it. It starts breaking down some of that stuff. Scum is separated. Sludge is separated, okay? goes into these big mixing bowls. Let's call them mixing bowls for that matter. Okay? It's called secondary clarification, though, if you need to know that. And that's slowly brought around. Okay? What's piped off of that is more scum, more sludge. What we have here behind me, they look like big Vidalia onions. They're called anaerobic digesters. The action that goes on in here is simple chemistry, actually. But what happens is some of that solid, because there's still some solids in this, aren't there? We haven't really refined everything out of it yet, have we? It's still pretty dirty. But what happens is the solids are put through a centrifuge process. You're all familiar with that, correct? Centrifuge, it goes through, it takes out all the liquids, right? In here, by the time it hits this, and that's all happening underneath us, by the way, into that building over there, the centrifuge process. It's pumped into here. Once it's in the anaerobic digester, the pH is raised to a very high level. Temperature is increased to the point that it burns it down almost into a fine powder. Okay? I'm telling you this at this point because by the time we get over on that side, it's going to get really loud, and I'm going to have to project a lot more. But there's a really interesting concept that we have over on that side where once that powder comes out, and it is still, again, that's still waste, correct? That's going to be taken away. Some of it's going to be introduced into our methane producing elements over on this side. And I'll show you that when we get over there. But what they do with that methane is they actually take it and convert it into energy to fuel this plant. So in a sense, they're using their science to fuel the plant. It's kind of like a big recycling program. Let's head over that way. And again, if we can stay kind of close, on that side we call it Chemical Row. There's going to be a lot of trucks. Be cognizant of that. Let's all stay to one side if we can, okay? Follow me.
The red tanks are methane tanks.
Kind of noisy. So you'll see these white pipes with the concentrated scum. It's coming off of those bioreactors, right? And the sludge gets converted into these anaerobic reactors, gets burned down. That gets taken away, and you'll see over there, it's getting put into these trucks, and you'll see some feeders that are taking that fine powder stuff and remainder of waste. That's going to get carried out. Now that lab that we stopped at first in the tour, right next to it, as we exit today, you'll see a waste station. Okay? When this gets taken away and gets put to a landfill, we have to record all of that to the state. So that's going to get filled up and carted away, put in a landfill. Here, though, scum is taken here and put into these methane reactors. I'm not sure the actual name, and I apologize. But the conversion process makes it into methane gas. Now, you guys all like Chick-fil-A, you go to fast food.
Are we gonna eat now?
Okay. What happens is they're cooking up your French fries, or whatever it may be, fats, oils, and greases. And they're going to do, let's say, 30 dips of their French fries in that oil or that grease. Well, they have to expel that at a certain point in time due to state regulations. They can't just put that down the drain. So what they do is they'll cart it up here to the Wayne Hill treatment plant, and there was a truck. I asked you about that truck. That big blue truck had fats, oils, and greases in it. They bring it up here, it's weighed, they pay the treatment plant, say, let's use $100 to take care of that. Okay? It gets put through this system, and again, it's converted to energy to run this plant. So not only are we as individuals in the county contributing to this recycling process, we're actually getting a little bit back from our economy. Through the fast food stuff. Now, if you look at this, you'll see the fats, oils, and greases being converted here. I know the smell is a little pungent out here. All this wastewater is gone from a certain stage, and it keeps getting filtered down. At this point, it's getting pretty clean, right? Because the scum's coming off of it, sludge has been removed, all that stuff's being taken away. Behind me is the liquid oxygen containment system. Water's going to go through 2 shocks of this liquid oxygen. It's like a liquid will into the water, kill all the pathogens. Okay, very necessary. Think about, any of you guys have pools? You have to shock the pools. In a sense, it's like shocking the water to get it to an acceptable level. Okay, so it's going to go through 2 of these processes. There's got a carbon filtration building down there that we're going to stop and talk a little bit at. Yes, question. You wouldn't want to put your tongue on that.
Yeah.
No.
Can you breathe in liquid oxygen?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Like, why would-
Immediate.
I was wondering. Drink liquid
Immediate. No. No.
oxygen.
Did y'all see Christmas Story? The movie Christmas Story where the guy puts his tongue on the flagpole?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't want to do that here.
Why? Is it like really cold?
Stick. You never get it off.
Wait, like if you touch it, it's cold.
Those reactors. Behind you is a new building that's going up that is going to be taking excess phosphorus out of the water. This is what it looks like as end products. Some of your parents may have lawn services, some may do your own lawns, you have Home Depot or Lowe's, private bag fertilizer. Phosphorus is great for gardening. It's great as a fertilizer. Fantastic nutrient. Give back. Okay. Again, we're recycling as much as we can. We want to. Let's see. We want to reclaim the water. Take everything out of it that we can. All right. Get it back to where it's supposed to be. Follow me. Can you all see those blue pipes down there?
Yeah.
That's actually the outpost. So we saw the influent, the big gray one. Those blue pipes down there, way down there, they get really wide. And that's what's going back to Lake Lanier and Chattahoochee. Now, as we go down here, you're going to see little runoff drains. Where do you think that water goes? See that one right up here? There's another one about halfway up Chemical Row. Where do you, just any guess? Where do you think that goes? Doesn't go to the edge. That's good. It's a good answer. Actually, just goes right back to our fields. I'm sorry, right back to our streams. Okay. Doesn't really need to be treated at this point. Okay, let's head down here. Can you all see those blue pipes down there?
Yeah.
That's actually the outpost. So we saw the influent, the big gray one. Those blue pipes down there, way down there, they get really wide. And that's what's going back to Lake Lanier and Chattahoochee. Now, as we go down here, you're going to see little runoff drains. Where do you think that water goes? See that one right up here? There's another one about halfway up Chemical Row. Where do you, just any guess? Where do you think that goes? Doesn't go to the edge. That's good. It's a good answer. Actually, just goes right back to our fields. I'm sorry, right back to our streams. Okay. Doesn't really need to be treated at this point. Okay, let's head down here. Processing spots. Carbon's a natural element, obviously it cleanses things. We've got one more building. We'll get you there.
Do it.
A lot of this process, guys, is like getting rid of those funny colors that are in the water still. Keep walking. At this point, we're getting to water that's pretty clear. That's going to continue to run through more of those little filters. Down in the lab, he talked about little, what was it, 4.45 micron paper that goes through kind of like that. Treated here. Up to 60 million gallons, in theory, could be done within a 24-hour period.
30
Look at
million
these
gallons
massive,
today are treated here.
massive reservoirs behind us. You've probably seen those when you're driving on the 85. You'll see them through the woods. Those are kind of overflow for us, i.e., if the Olympics came to town again and it doubled our population, let's say in Gwinnett County, or people that were staying here, we couldn't process all that water that was going to be used. It would be housed in one of these tanks while that initial 30 million gallons is going through, right? And then eventually they'd suck it out of there, put it right through. Look how many there are. We're staged for growth here in Gwinnett County. We're ready to go. We're going to go in this building. There are bathrooms. I'm going to talk about one last thing, and then we'll get on the bus and head back to the center, okay? Come on.